If you've been online lately, you've probably heard that running a business is super easy and anyone can do it. Well, that's complete nonsense. We're here to share with you the real world of entrepreneurship. Welcome to I Can't Hustle Any Harder Than This.
Hello, I'm Rachel, and welcome to this episode of I Can't Hustle Any Harder Than This. I'm here with
Emily Naples,
my co-host. And we're here today with Leah Peysha. She is my friend that I met at an Evanescence concert in 2022. My second Evanescence friend. I met another friend at an Evanescence concert, and today we're going to talk about the business of being a parent, being a mom, and being a stay-at-home mom, because as it turns out, that's like really hard, and that's why I'm one of the reasons I don't do it. I'm not a stay-at-home mom because it's hard as hell. So give us a little background, Leah. Who are you? What you doing? Where you come from? All this fun stuff.
I'm from Cleveland area, Ohio, and born and raised there. I actually have family from PA, so I like coming out this way.
Yeah.
I am currently the mom to a 12-year-old boy, and I was a stay-at-home mom for like a short time, but I'm like with Rachael, I just did not care for it. So I was like, I got to get back in the working world. So currently I am a corrections officer for a small city jail in the Cleveland area. So yeah.
Yeah, that's also why when she was approached by a teenager at the Evanescence concert to buy alcohol, Leah was like, no, for a couple of reasons. One of which is I work in a jail.
Oh, wow. So Rachel will have a lot of questions about motherhood, and I'm going to have a lot more questions about the jail since I don't have any kids. But either way, I'm excited to hear
what
more.
You were a stay-at-home mom for how long were you stay-at-home mom for?
I stayed home about 3 years, and prior to having my son, I was a barber, so I cut hair, and I enjoyed doing that. Yeah, I went from like one career to the other, and then that little stint in the middle was obviously, I think the hardest job was being a stay-at-home mom, because it's like you don't get to punch out. It's round the clock, so.
It's really hard. Especially, I feel like when the child is a baby, there's a level of like, to me, it was harder than having a toddler in a different way. Like now my son is very fast and climbing on things and gets moody about stuff. But when they're a baby, I feel like there's a terror level that I had of just like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. And this tiny, tiny person is here.
Well, they don't send you home with a manual. Like cars have manuals, our phones have manuals, but a baby that we have to, bring into almost raised to adulthood, it's like, oh no manual for that. It's kind of crazy.
But a million opinions and things shared. And I can't imagine the amount of like, influence and access and the things that you as mothers get like bombarded with,
and
to be like, this is what you're supposed to do.
Social media definitely makes it worse, where you're like just scrolling TikTok or wherever, and then you're seeing all these moms and they have, all these kids, and it's like, oh wow, they're all put together, and then you're at home in your sweats, your hair's a mess, and you haven't showered in 3 days, but it's like you always kind of feel like less than, or like you're not good enough, or like I said, you go into a mom group and oh my gosh, it's there's 5,000 opinions on what to feed your baby, when to feed your baby, what kind of clothes to put them in. And it's so much stress that I don't think like our moms had.
No, they weren't inundated with opinions in the same way. Like they heard it from their own parents.
Oh, yeah.
But just as I heard it from my parents, we didn't used to do that.
Yeah.
You'd had this and not that. It's like, all right. What was your average day like as a stay-at-home mom? Because I feel like people don't have a lot of respect for stay-at-home moms. They're like, oh, yeah, you're not really, it's not a real job. You're not working. It's like, oh, you're working.
Yeah.
You're just doing a different kind of work.
So like the thing with my son is he slept pretty good through the night. But I'm married to a police officer who worked midnight shift at the time. So that was kind of nice when he would be up all night. Like I could actually get some sleep, which wasn't very much. But I'd wake up in the morning, have to get bottles ready, Andrew was formula fed, so we had to make the formula, wash bottles from like the night
Oh my
before.
God, so annoying.
And then I would just try to take him out for the day, because obviously when you have a husband who works midnight shift, he's got to sleep, so you can't be home all day. So I would try to just find different activities. We used to go to the rec center a lot, and I'd like walk with him or put him like in a little daycare thing while I worked out. And it was a constant just busyness. So that's where it's like you really don't get a break, even though people are like, oh, you just sit on the couch and watch TV. I'm like, yeah, I wish, I could do that, but that's not. There was always something to do, and I tried to just stay busy with them. And
Damn, that kid. So his parents are a corrections officer and a cop.
Yep.
Good luck. Good luck, little guy. It's gonna suck.
He's never gonna get away with anything.
Anything. His friends are gonna be like, "You're a narc. Stay away."
Absolutely.
So what was his age ranges like while you were at home?
From newborn till about 4, and then I was like, I gotta get back to work. It wasn't for me. Like, I'm glad I did get to stay home with him during that time, because I think I know you can attest to this, like, that's kind of a pivotal time where, do you want to hand your baby off at 6 weeks old, like a lot of moms have to do and are forced to, and then the whole time you're at work, you're just thinking like, oh, what's the baby doing? I miss him, and it's kind of depressing at the same time. Like, you feel bad, and there's all that mom guilt. And I mean, that kind of never goes away, because even at 12 years old, I'm now able to FaceTime my son and be like, hey, I'm at work. What are you doing? Or now like this morning, I'm getting ready to leave, and he goes, Mom, where are you going? I'm like, to Pittsburgh. He goes, for what? And I said, I'm going to be on a podcast. And he's like, oh, what time are you coming home? I'm like, excuse me, because now he's at that age where he wants to know where Mom's going all the time. And so it's like, I got a chaperone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a regular mom. I'm a cool mom.
Yeah.
I go on podcasts.
I think you have mom guilt no matter, like you said, whatever age, whatever you do.
Yeah.
I did not take a maternity leave. So, running your own business, you feel sort of trapped in the sense that you're like, if I'm not doing it, is it happening?
Yeah.
And I have people. I have Natalie, I have my mom who works for Dementia by Day now, but it's not me. And so if I am not doing, it, is it moving in like at the speed and the direction in terms of like bringing in new accounts and things like that?
Yeah.
No. So it was very hard for me to take a break. My son came, as we know, 5 weeks early. So I was not like prepared, I think, to I was like, yeah, I'm going to take maternity leave. He came early. Then he was in the NICU for 11 days. And I was just like, yeah, I'll just like kind of work, and I'll also be home, and I'm home anyway. Yeah. So this was a mistake, honestly, because I had Nat come over and nanny, but she and I worked because she also works for Dementia by Day. So we did a lot of work while he was napping. In the early days, they sleep, a lot, like during the day. But this combo of the paid work and the work of the caregiving was brutal for my brain.
Yeah.
Like, it really was a mistake that I made to not take the break from the paid work and just try to, instead of splitting my focus, just be a mom. I should have just been a mom for a while, and I didn't do it, and that was a mistake.
So, like, what do you gals, you mentioned, like the culture of it all, right? The pressures of it all, right, Rach? Like, so did you feel like beholden to it from a monetary space, a business running space? Like, what were the pressures? Were they pressures that you were putting on yourself? You know what I mean? Like, let's get theoretical about this. Where did these things come from?
It is like an internal pressure, but like Leah said, there's this societal pressure, but it's sort of like all mixes together in your head.
Okay. Did you feel that way?
A little bit. And I kind of compared myself to my mom. My mom was a working mom. She worked afternoon shift. And pretty much after I was born, she went right back to work. But she had help. So my aunt lived right up the street from me. So I consider my aunt like my second mom. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people don't have that. And I feel for that. Like, you know, if you don't have those resources available to you or you don't have family to help, like it can really suck. And like you feel all alone, and it's bad enough, like if you're dealing with postpartum depression. Looking back, I definitely, and we can even touch on that a little bit, I know I had that just because of my behavior, my feelings, and I just felt so alone, and it shouldn't be that way. Like, you know, you always hear it takes a village to raise a kid. Well, where's my village? Then it's easy for moms to feel that. So
there's a lot of times no village, and I think, you know, decades ago people lived where they grew up, right? So then they met their partner, they had a child, they stayed in that same town or nearby town. I live 5 hours away from my family. And I think, did you have help? Did you have much help?
I did.
Okay.
So my parents, I love them to death. They, you know, my son was born on my dad's birthday, so we joke he's the favorite grandchild. But yeah, my parents loved watching because they're both retired, so that helped. But, you know, if I didn't have that, I definitely would have had to stay home longer. I wouldn't have been able to return as quickly as I was able to go back to work.
But still, 3 years is a long time to be home, be a stay-at-home mom.
And how did you kind of, I don't know if this is like, I don't know, you and like your husband, because like money too, so you had to plan, did you like pre-plan, like?
Well, the goal with us was always that I was going to stay home, you know, take care of those first couple years, and then I would get a job because he's obviously retired now. So the thing was like, okay, I'm going to work and be the man of the house, provide for you. You take care of Andrew, get him through those first couple early years, and then you'll get back into the workforce. I'll retire, and we'll live happily ever after. So,
and also, we're big Evanescence crazies. We also are both in age gap marriages.
Okay.
Yes.
So when she says he's retired, you know, obviously
He's of
that's not
retirement
obvious.
age.
That's not obvious to everyone except for age gap.
Sorry, you
age gap
two
people.
knuckleheads. We
Yeah.
have Evanescence write a song about that.
We connected over that and Evanescence. It was weird. I was like,
Yeah, it
wait
was
a minute,
very
your
weird.
husband's how old?
Yeah, it was very weird. He's not like crazy old. He's in his 50s, people. But people are like, is he like an 80-year-old man, you know, watching this? But yeah, it's that is interesting in and of itself. Yeah. Like you said, though, the postpartum depression. I had something that I don't think showed up very well on those like little forums that you would go to the doctor and it would be like, how are you feeling? You know, it didn't catch what I had, which was definitely postpartum anxiety and PTSD.
Yeah.
I had a really traumatic birth, and that affected me deeply, but I didn't recognize it at first. So I would just go through these waves of being really dark for like an hour or two at a time, where I was like, I can't be here anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I'm doing.
And that's very scary.
It's very scary. And you feel like I'm trapped. I think the biggest thing for me, like, especially at the time being, you know, I was 34, I'd lived a lot of my adult life doing kind of whatever I wanted whenever I wanted to do it. I started my business in 2016. I got used to just being like, I'm going to go to the gym for a couple hours. I'm going to do this volunteer thing. And then I'm going to sit down at my desk and I'll take a call when I have a call. Yeah. When you have a child, your ass isn't leaving the house like that. You know, you leaving the house, there's a lot of preparation in the leaving.
It's a whole ordeal that
yeah.
If you got to be somewhere at 7:30, you better be getting up at like 5 because inevitably something's going to happen. Your kid's going to have a major diaper blowout and like, oh, there goes, you know, 7:15. There's no way I'm going to make this now. So that was very frustrating.
Yeah. I have a question. When you weren't working, did you get approached for any, you know, hey, you have spare time, come be part of my business?
Yes, I actually did.
A good Look at this segue. Look at this professional segue.
So it started on Instagram. This was back, my son was born in 2012, so I had an Instagram account. I still do. And this woman commented on my photo because I think I posted, that was like back when people were just taking pictures of random stuff like, oh, hey, here's my cup. Or,
I miss those days.
Yeah.
You put it like a heavy filter on it and then you're like, cup. It's just like a pen. It's like, there it is. But you'd put like this filter on it.
So if I remember correctly, the picture was like of a slim, not a particular name brand drink, but breakfast drink. I think it was that. And she commented like, "Oh, way to go, Mom, looking good," or something. And then for the next month on every picture, like, "Oh, here's me at the gym," she would comment like something smart underneath. And I'm like, okay, who is this woman and why does she, I don't know her. Why is she commenting on my pictures? Well, then that segued into her reaching out to me and like, "Hey, I'm part of this program where you can work out and you should join," you know. And I'm like, okay, I'm interested, whatever. Well, I ended up spending like so much money, and I got suckered into buying the powder that came with it, like the protein powder and the DVDs, and it was just, it got to the point where my husband goes, "We have 6 bags of this stuff and you're not using it. Like, what are you doing?" And I said, I don't know. I'm kind of like suckered into it. And now I look back too, and that I think contributed to a little bit of the postpartum where you gain all this weight and then you feel this pressure like, oh, well, all these other moms are like, so they bounced back, you know?
Right.
And I got roped into that because I was in that headspace where I got to get back to what I was or what I looked like before I had a baby. And so that's, she got me roped into that. And then,
Wow.
So you got roped into a multi-level marketing
Yeah.
scheme, a pyramid scheme.
Yep.
Did you ever sell it to somebody else? Like, did you get anybody in your...
I tried. Actually, one of my best friends at the time, she was a fitness guru, like went to go get her personal training and all that. And she was laughing at me. She's like, "Leah, you know, you can just like diet and, you know, exercise and you're going to get the same results. You don't have to buy all this stuff." And I'm like, "Oh no, but she said that if you drink this powder and like, you know, you make this drink up and stuff and you do their exercises, you're going to lose all this weight in like 3 days." And she's like, "Yeah, you're making yourself sick." So I ended up actually getting really sick from this stuff. So I stopped. Yeah.
Is that what got you to stop? Like, how long were you in this pyramid scheme before you were like, "Oh, oops, this is a pyramid scheme"?
It was a month or two, and then I just got so sick. And then, like I said, when my husband was like, "Yeah, we're not using all this, just get rid of this crap," and I said, "Okay." So
Was there did she apply pressure to you? Like,
oh yeah.
what was the relationship like? So it started with comments, and then was it like, did you ever have to like meet face to face or
No,
anything like
but
that?
she did call me, and she goes, so she recommended that I like pretty much don't eat, which I look back
Well,
and I'm
that's
like,
one way
oh
to
my
lose
God.
weight.
Yeah.
It's been highly effective.
So you were essentially fasting all day, and then your meals were these shakes.
Oh my God.
And then you had to do the exercise program. So she called me and she's like, "This is what you have to do. You need to take pictures of yourself, like progression photos." So I'm posting pictures, and I still have those pictures on my old Facebook account. And I look back and I'm like, I lost water weight. I wasn't actually losing any weight. It was just because I wasn't eating. Like, you're going to lose weight.
You're going to lose weight.
And I assume that affected your energy.
Oh, yeah.
Caring for like a little person.
So another kind of backstory to all this is during that time after my son was born, because I was so in the mind space of like, I got to get back to what I was before, lose all this weight. Well, my son wasn't getting nutrients from me trying to breastfeed.
Oh.
So he was a month old and he wasn't gaining any weight. And the doctors couldn't figure out why. They're like, "What's going on?" Well, now looking back, had I said, I'm trying, you know, X, Y, and Z to lose weight, my doctors would have been like, "No, you're not. You need to eat more. You know, you're trying to feed your baby and he's not getting the nutrients because you're essentially starving yourself."
Oh,
So this was
my
like
God.
pretty much like right after you had
Yeah.
the baby. Okay.
Yep.
So it was like quick to wow.
Wow.
And I just look back and I cringe. I'm like, oh.
But you're so vulnerable
Yeah.
at that point. And these pyramid schemes, these multi-level marketing schemes, they go after, and this is one of the reasons, like, I've always hated them, but I hate them even more now because I'm a mom, and they go after women who are in a vulnerable place, who have just had a baby, are, you know, maybe body conscious, body self-conscious, and they want to contribute to the household. And so they'll go after you by being like, hey, mama, do you want to like get in good shape and also contribute to your household financially? And of course, the answer to both of these things is yeah.
Yep.
But not with the bullshit that they're selling you. Because what it becomes is like, yeah, just do these things. You'll be an independent business owner. And blah, 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 blah. But they hit you at this vulnerable place. Where, of course, you're susceptible. Of course you're susceptible. And you're alone. You're at home. I mean, come on.
Yeah, especially someone like me who I enjoyed working. I didn't necessarily want to stay home. So that really was, I was a target for that because of everything that I just said. Like, I'm wanting to work and I'm feeling like less than, and I'm in a bad headspace, and it was bad.
So
bad
when you did get back to work, like how were you feeling? Or like how was that transition?
I was happy to get back to work.
Okay.
I still had a little bit of the mom guilt, but it wasn't so terrible because I felt like, oh, I'm contributing again. I'm worth something, which is so far from the truth. Your biggest job as a mom is to be a mom.
Sure.
But you do get this feeling like I'm not doing enough. And then what ends up happening is like you're sort of half-assing both things. And that's what I felt. That's what I realized, like looking back, was like I was trying to be a mom and be at home with my son and also work the business. You can't do it. You can't do it. That's not how humans work. That's not how your brain works. You can't multitask like that. And it was a mistake that I tried to. I didn't even like try to. People were like, oh, when did you go back to work? I'm like, I never stopped working. Literally, I was in the hospital post C-section, like big wrap on my thing, laptop sitting there, and I'm writing emails. Those emails, I definitely messed some stuff up because I was still on a lot of drugs. But what the hell? Why was I doing that? And the answer is like, I felt like I had to.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think the next time we do this interview of a mom, we should do one of a mom an oldster, like somebody who's out of our generation.
Yeah.
I'd be so curious to compare the two.
An oldster.
Like somebody who,
Well,
didn't have those pressures, stayed home, then rejoined the workforce, or like you did, Rach, like try to keep their, business running. What did that look like?
My mom stayed
previously
home for a little bit, but then she went back to work and she said kind of like what you said, Leah, like it wasn't for me. And I know moms who like stay at home for years and years and years, and that's what they like to do, and they love it. Not my jam. I love spending time with my son. But I realized at some point I was not able to be my best self if he was at home. Like when it was time to take him we take him to an in-home daycare, which is lovely. It's a woman's house and she takes care of two other little boys who are like his same age. So he gets to play with them. I mean, it's honestly really a really good setup. Taking him the first time, I felt so guilty. So guilty.
Yeah.
And I was dropping him off, and I remember like I had tears in my eyes. There was a 5-year-old girl there at the time, and she says, "Miss Stacy, why is Sawyer's mommy still here?" And I said, and Stacy was like, "No, it's okay. She's allowed to be here." And I said, "Nope.
No, she's right.
She's right.
That tiny child.
That child is right."
Reminded me.
It's time for me to leave. It's time for me to walk away. She's right.
I love that.
But it was so hard for me to walk away because I had so much guilt. Like, I can't believe, in my brain is like, I can't believe you're dropping this kid off.
You're such a bad mom.
You're such a bad mom, you asshole. You're dropping your kid off and you're going back home. But truly, like, if I didn't have time to work out, if I didn't have time to do work that I loved, I was not going to be as good of a mom.
Nope.
And yeah, I think, you mentioned like for folks who are in the regular job business while this is happening, or the industry or whatever, we don't have sufficient maternity leave
No.
in this country. And so
it's laughable. Like, you can take FMLA and you're expected to just have a baby, pop the kid out, and go back to work after
Right.
6 weeks. Well, 6 weeks, like, your baby isn't even
right.
able to do anything. So,
No.
I mean,
Yeah.
And you
there's got to
are
be a better, I don't know what the answer is, but there's got to be a better way to adjust us going back to work and handling going back and not feeling guilty and giving us more time than
if you had a cesarean, if you had a C-section, you can't even drive for 6 weeks. They don't want you driving
Oh.
because of the incision. If you were to get into a car accident, it could totally rough up your insides.
Yeah.
Like, things need time to go back into place. So they don't want you driving.
Yeah.
Like, and then the work expects you to come back in 6 weeks.
It's not good.
Shaking my damn head. If you're listening to this, I'm shaking my damn head. You're not watching.
It is so much that I think we put on moms in society, and like, it's just not the same BS that dads get. I mean, like, if you're a dad and you're home with your kids, people are like, wow,
You're such a good dad.
wow.
But I never got told I was such a good mom for doing basic mom stuff.
Of course not.
Right.
Feeding my child, yay.
Right.
My husband takes our son grocery shopping most Saturdays, and that's time that they get to spend together, and they enjoy doing that, and that's nice. But people will be like, wow, you're such a good dad. And he's aware of it because he'll come home and tell me, and I'm like, you know what I'm going to say? And he's like, yeah, that you being out with him, people would never be like, wow, look at you, super mom, with your kid.
Yep.
No one's going to do that to a woman.
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough out there.
It's tough out there. Okay, so you covered, what happened when you went back to work? Like, what are your thoughts, Leah, when you're like, okay, I think it's time. I'm done with the pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
Follow-up question to that. Do you still have that stuff? Did you throw it out? How did you get rid of
I
the
threw it
stuff?
out a long time ago.
Okay.
Yeah, when we moved, I got rid of it. Was still sitting in the cabinet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Every time you opened it, it was like,
It was
like
a bad
trying to-
reminder of that bad time in my life. But
yeah. I'm interested in that too, Rachel. Like the transition, and then also like tips that you would have for moms,
Yeah.
kind of going from one, avoiding pyramid schemes, and then two, like how to make that transition the best they can for like your mental health and all that good shit.
well, I went back to cutting hair because I wasn't quite into corrections yet. But I started taking tests and stuff, so I knew what I wanted to get into eventually. But it took some time because 10 years ago, the job market was not like it is now. You know, back then there was like 50 people applying for one test or for one position, and now it's like there's 5 people applying for 5 positions. So it's not anything like it was.
I don't know that that's true.
Depends on the market. I
Depends
think.
on the
It depends
market.
on the market.
In my profession, that's how it is. Like
Okay.
nobody wants to do the job I do.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Okay. That's very
in like
fair.
marketing and stuff, like senior living, somebody gets laid off, they can't find a job for like a year
Yeah.
or plus. But yeah, if you have a job that like
Like mine,
That's
it's
corrections.
it's completely different. So flip flopped.
interesting.
Yeah. Challenging, definitely challenging, intimidating role, I would assume.
Yeah, but I went back to cutting hair, and I guess I just took it easy on myself. I tried not to be like constantly wondering, oh, what's Andrew up to? He did stay with my mom and dad quite a bit, and it was nice because I could drop him off like on the way to work. And then eventually at age 3, he went into preschool. So that was nice because then I could really start looking like, okay, I know what I want to get into. So I started looking and applying at more places. And when he was 4, I finally got hired in corrections. The thing also with my profession is it's not very mom friendly. It's not at all, just because of the hours. Like, you're working an 8-hour shift. Well, you might have to stay another 4 hours. Well, if you're a single mother, that's going to be really hard.
Why would you have to stay another 4 hours? Like something goes down?
Yeah, well, if someone calls off
Okay.
and nobody wants to stay over, like low man on the totem pole, you're new, you're getting stuck.
You're sticking, yeah.
So there was a lot of times, but I was kind of used to that, being married to a police officer, because Andrew was born right around the time, I believe it was Hurricane Sandy happened. So there was a day where he didn't come home for like another 8 hours. He ended up getting stuck over because there was all kinds of power lines down. And so I was kind of used to it. And then like when I transitioned into my current role, it was like, okay, well, we're prepared for that just in case I do get held over at work. And then I always had a backup plan. So I guess my advice for parents mothers trying to get back into the working world is like, have a backup plan, because stuff can happen. And just like go easy on yourself. Don't put so much pressure. It's easier said than done.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, looking back now that I'm 35 instead of 23, I think my mindset is a lot more laid back. And if I could go back, which hindsight's 2020, we all know, I would definitely just, take it slow, give yourself some grace, and just go easy on yourself. And
you were a young mom too.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. That's another piece, I feel like, being able to be sucked into a pyramid scheme. We have this interview with Anna, and we're doing the second part of that. We're filming the second part of that today, where she got sucked into like a business cult at like 22, 23. I mean, like, you're at a vulnerable place age-wise.
Yes.
And the fact that you just had a child.
Yes.
Just.
I did like the triple whammy.
Oh, absolutely.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. I mean, this woman targeted you on your Instagram.
Yeah.
Like, she saw you and was like, ooh, she's at the perfect point for me to take advantage.
Yeah.
And I look back at those pictures and I'm like, I didn't need any of that. I
Yeah.
was fine. I was 23. I could drink iced coffee and live on that. And I was like 100 pounds. Now
The weight was going to come off.
Now
yeah.
I look at iced coffee or donuts and it's like, oh, there's 5 pounds. And I don't care, but I'm happy with myself. I'm happy. Like, I look at my son and he's a good kid. And I'm like, yeah I birthed that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Sometimes
so
I look
sweet.
at my son and I'm like, where'd you come from? Like, you're like a whole person.
Yep.
It's nuts.
All right. Well,
All
thank you
right.
so much, Leah, for being here. This was really fun.
Thanks for having me.
this
It was
was-
worth the 2 hour and 15-minute drive.
Wow.
And of course, you're going to stay for lunch. We're going to get
Yeah.
lunch after
Treat
this.
ya.
Yeah.
Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and a Jersey chick.
Yeah, I didn't come here from Jersey today.
No, but you're like from there, so we're just like representing, okay? I just
We
wanna
got
mention
Florida
that.
over here on the couch. South Florida's in the house. Well, thanks everybody for
Yes.
tuning in. This was a great
Happy
episode.
Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Every day
Every
should be
day
Mother's
is Mother's
Day.
Day.
Yeah.
Happy Mother's Day.
All right. Bye-bye.